and welcome to
Rockin
the
the Love.
I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil. And we are here today to have a good time, to talk about relationships, and to have a good conversation, and to be together, apparently, because we're in the same place. So it's all good.
And we told you we wouldn't be, but here we are in the same place. Life is funny that way.
As our producer said, we're coming from your West Coast studio right now. So that's where we are. And we have a fantastic guest coming up a little later. So hang in there. What's our topic today?
The joy
of gratitude.
No, the gratitude of joy.
No, the joy of gratitude.
The joy of gratitude. Both very important qualities that we'll touch on. So, so check in. Let us know you're here because we love that. We want to chat with you. We want to hear from you. All that good stuff. I see that Bonnie Gonzalez is out there, who is an amazing your doula for grief. You can see her on Mondays on New Thought Media Network, and you got to try to. Bonnie's kind of like Where's Waldo, right? It's like you got to try to keep up with her. You're like, is she in Ireland? No, she lives in Mexico. Oh, but she's on the West Coast. So that is the beauty of doing this show and being here with you and chatting with all of you, is that not only are you global, but we ourselves tend to be global, and you never know where we're going to be coming from.
Well, and then Bonnie goes and quotes Peaches and Herb. So, there you go.
Yeah,
what do you think about
that? Yes, she did. All right. Peaches and Herb. That's funny.
That is funny.
All right. So, again, check in with us. Let us know you're here. Like our Facebook pages, do all that good stuff. And
sorry for the couple minute late start. We were working to get things in order, and we managed to do it, and we're good to go. So what do we got to share with them today?
Well,
oh boy.
It's been a whirlwind here in our world. So we are here together, as you can see. And Gil made the trip last night. He'll be here for about a week, and then we'll be there on the next show.
That's right.
Or we'll be here, and then we'll be there.
That show, and then there the show after
anyway,
that.
I never know where I am anymore. I look at a clock, and I'm like, is that my time zone where I am or where I'm supposed to be? I don't know, because the computer did, when we were in Hawaii, the computer didn't switch. Things like that. It's like, all of a sudden, I begin to understand, since we're quoting songs today, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care about time?
Well, we've had that discussion. Time is an elusive thing.
It is.
And it's one of those things that can kill a relationship. Time. If you let it compress on you and push down, and you get concerned about where you're going to have time. And you know what? We've discovered we have to go with the flow a lot.
It's true.
Very much so.
And we've discovered there really is no time.
Right.
Unless your wife gives you a to-do list.
Then there's time.
Then there's you better find out the time. Find the time. So I think...
Well, let's start with gratitude, since we're going to talk about gratitude today. I just want to say how thankful I am that we were able to get back from our trip, and how wonderful it was to rest and be together. And really how wonderful it is to be together, even though it wasn't in the plan, and it's a little unexpected, but it's the best choice that could be made, and it's exciting to be together. So I'm grateful.
I am too. I am grateful. I'm grateful for that, and I'm just grateful for my life. I really like it. I know no matter how crazy it is, and how many times I think things could be different, I just like it. I like life. I really do. I liked being a teenager. I liked every stage of life growing up. It's not like I look back on one and go, oh, I would never do that again. I would do all of them again. I like them.
Life is good. Right?
All the time.
All the time.
Oh, wow. Let's see how much jargon we can throw into one show. Okay. So we're not going to do that because we want to get to our guest. And I'm so excited to have her here. So let's just start with our good news segment.
Yay!
Here's the good news.
What is it?
No, you hit it first.
Okay. Well, the good news is that you and I get to lead a retreat. And that's good news because that's going to be fun.
Yes, but that's not good news in the world. I mean, not that it's not world changing, but
it is world changing.
I scolded you last week for not having your good news.
Did it help?
Okay. Is that really all you got?
Really, I've been otherwise occupied flying and stuff.
That is not an excuse. You have the internet. It's not like you had to find an encyclopedia or a newspaper or something. Give me a break. All right. Well, I have lots of good news.
Good.
And see, if it's not, I have, well, that you're here is good news.
See, there you go.
That John Chastain is having a birthday this week. That's good news. That's good news. But my good news is that they did a study that they believe. Hold on, my computer has to make sure it's me. Okay, meditation could protect older people against Alzheimer's, according to new research. So those of you that have been doing your meditating, you're in like Flynn. Those of you that fall asleep or say you can't do it, you got to start. So
and if you don't remember whether or not you've done it, it's too late.
That's horrible. That's a horrible thing to say. No, but I think they did a study in France that that says that where they compared, like how they tell you to do the busy things, like the puzzles and the things to keep your mind busy and active. They found that a higher percentage when they sat in the stillness and didn't try to busy their mind with that had better results.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. Isn't
it? It's a great article. I just lost it, or I'd quote some more from it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that is fascinating.
Well, we keep saying over and over and over again that meditation is supportive of us because we get quiet, because we slow down, because we allow ourselves to observe what's going on in our bodies and our minds instead of trying to control what's going on in it. We just kind of observe what's happening, and it's counterintuitive, I think, to most of us as humans to sit and be still as a way to get ahead. I mean,
because we're used to doing
right
instead of being
right, and we can't be, for instance, in relationship if we're busy doing relationship. We can't be with ourselves and we're busy doing ourselves. We have to be. Very important.
Well, I think too, it also makes sense on the level of when you sit and you empty yourself out, so to speak, in meditation, or you sit in the stillness and you're kind of reconnecting and reintegrating yourself with the divine or the universe or whatever you're choosing to do. But I mean, I think it would only make sense that we're reconnecting with our true selves, like our true nature. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think it makes sense on that level.
Absolutely.
So, and and on another note, I don't know if any of you out there have noticed, but any of you that go to spiritual centers or churches or new thought centers, whatever, we always have this conversation that like the older people, like how they don't look old. I mean, these people that are out there like 80, 85, and they're, either candidating for a new church or, starting a new business. We had a woman sitting with us the other day who's right around pushing 80, right? Mm-hmm. Talking about, she's like, oh, I have just written 3 of the hottest rap songs you would want to hear. Okay. And she proceeded to sing them to us. She's like, yeah, so I really want to move out of Oakland because I really want to start my music publishing company and my this and my that. And it was such a lesson on so many levels, for all the times when you go, oh, I can't, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, it's too late.
and that plays into our topic today so well, because coming from that place of gratitude for all that she has and all that she can do, she's able to do that. She's able to continue to see the good in what's going on in her life.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of changing, her physical abilities to some degree and those kinds of things.
Bonnie says 80 is the new 60.
Oh, is that why I feel 80, Bonnie? Okay.
Cancel, delete. That's your own issue.
I was kidding. All right.
Okay. And Joanne says, "Hi, Reverend Gil. This is Joanne from East Bay Church of Religious Science."
Hi.
All right.
Excellent.
Nice. Good to have you all here. Well, I know that you are waiting to hear Reverend Sherri Grier, because who wouldn't be? So we're going to take a short break. We're going to let you get your pens and paper and water and whatever it is you need, because you're not going to want to miss it. And we'll be right back with Reverend Sherri right here on New Thought Media Network.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Everybody, we are back. I'm Gil.
I'm Robyn.
And this is Rockin the Love. And today we have a very special guest with us, the Reverend Dr. Sherri Grier. Oh my gosh, she's newly gained some titles, and due to a lot of hard work. Sherri's got a lot of stuff that she's done in her life, and she's passionate about mentoring and coaching. And I know she's worked with younger people and supporting them in moving through issues sometimes, and all kinds of stuff. She speaks at different places, and it also says she says she's gregarious. I love that word. And but what I wanted to share about Sherri is that she is very compassionate with people, and that's my own personal experience of her stepping up and honoring me in a space where it looked a little tentative for a moment. And so I just appreciate her willingness to do that, and I see that in lots of ways.
Well, then
So,
I want to say something about her too.
okay, you can say something now.
Okay, I just want to say, because I don't know Sherri as well as Gil does, but I remember, like, when I used to see Sherri around, I knew of Sherri. I knew who she was out there, but I didn't know her. And I just want to say, like, when we picked this topic, when she said, "Oh, I want to do this topic," I was like, "Of course," because to me, she is the essence of joy. She, like, you just look at her and I can feel the joy. And it's funny because when the announcement came out for the show, one of my friends said to me, "Oh, I want to see this Sherri woman. She looks fun." So it's like, it's who you are, Sherri. It's like, it's so is out there, and then you meet her and it's absolutely all true. So welcome.
Welcome.
I just want to say you have my heart so full right now. I really appreciate that. And it's funny because I'm trying not to crack I got my makeup on. I don't want to mess my makeup up. But yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful that I have been blessed with this gift to have this heart that I have. It's always, I tell the story to people all the time about wanting to know what my gift was growing up. I always wanted to be a singer or a dancer, and I can't sing. Well, I can sing, but I can't hold a note. And my dancing is a little shaky. And then I look at people who can play instruments and just all the wonderful things in life that that is theirs to do. And I kept saying, "What is mine?" And not until I got into this philosophy that I realized I have one of the greatest gifts of all, the gift of love. And I didn't know that's what it was because it's always just been who I was, even from a little girl in elementary school. I think back and how my relationships were then. And I'm just so grateful about that. Just the little things or the big things, or whatever they are. I mean, the tough things. I've learned to find gratitude, God in all things. In all things. And I'm thankful that you guys asked me to be here today.
Well, we're glad you said yes.
Yeah, and I don't think that was a mistake just then. I think you've learned gratitude, but I think you've also learned gratitude. I think, because I really do. I think you're one of those people that can make situations great. That can really find that silver lining and that thing without it being jargon, without it being it's all good, when it's not. It's about, really feeling it. So
It's funny
yeah.
because
So, go
I
ahead.
always say that I'm a people person. And I know there was times in, that have been around some people and they would always talk about their space. I don't like people in my space. I have, space. And that's good. And there are times when you feel something, you go like, but generally I don't have a space. It's like, I work with kids most of my life, and it's always, they want to run up and hug you. I don't have that uncomfortableness in people getting close to me. And I think that's a gift too, because I love the hugs. I love to be around people. I'm a very social person. So COVID's has given me an opportunity to learn to be with myself and be okay. And so I'm learning a whole new way of life these days because things are different. And even though COVID's kind of, not as big as it was, a couple of years ago, I know that it's still there. So I'm very thoughtful around what I do. and who, and how I move through the world now.
Yeah.
But I still love my hugs. I just keep my mask on. That's all. I'm a masker.
All right, that's good.
Yes, yes.
So
I'm grateful to be able to talk about this topic today because I know in life, to have a more joyful life, to have a more full life, to have a more fun life, is to be able to live in gratitude. And it is the magic of all that. I did a talk this past Sunday in Vallejo. It's called now Centers for Spiritual Living Vallejo. They changed their name.
Oh, wow.
And it was about the magic of gratitude. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if many people practice gratitude. For me, it's not something that I really practice. It's just the way I be these days. It was a practice at the beginning to make sure I reminded myself to do it. But I'm really just living my life from that place now. It's really important because I realize when I feel some uncomfortableness or things that are happening that are not working for me, I said, oh, I know. You need to start really focusing on God. You need to start focusing on the good news. I always say, I'm starting a teaching center, right? And I said, so what are you about, Sherri? What are you about? I said, I spread the good news. So it was good to see your little segment on here on the good news. I think it's so important.
So let's talk about gratitude for a second. So, because when we say the practice of gratitude, like, what does that mean?
Well, gratitude means to praise, to celebrate, to be in contact with the divine, and to give thanks for what life is giving us. Because I really believe in life, even though sometimes it may be uncomfortable, what some people may call, I don't like to use the word bad because I feel like there's really no bad. I feel like there's always a lesson or a blessing in everything. And I look for those. Can I tell a story?
Sure.
I want to tell this story. Okay. So I told this story Sunday when I was talking. It was about these two little twin boys, and their behavior was, not what the parents would have liked. So they went to a psychologist. They said, hey, we really like some help with our kids. So the psychologist, they observed the kids. He said, oh, I got something I could do with them. They had a room full of toys and a room full of manure. They put the young man who was a pessimist in the room with the toys. And they put the other one in the room with the manure, the optimist in the room with the manure. So they look at the pessimist, and he's in the room, and he's just complaining still. I don't have anybody to play with, and, all this other stuff. And he has all these beautiful toys. And then they look at the little boy over here in the room with the manure. And the psychologist, they were shocked. And he ran in there because the little boy was digging all through the manure. And they ran in there and said, what are you doing? He said, with all this manure here, I know there has to be a pony in here somewhere. And I thought that was the greatest thing. I said, because he had an attitude of gratitude. And he had an attitude, to seeing beyond whatever that gook is in our lives. It's like seeing beyond that, looking to see what is good out of this. What is
the gift?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
How do we start to shift from being the boy in the room with toys who's ungrateful
well,
to that other thing, that other space?
Well, one of the things I started doing was journaling. Oprah always talked about have a gratitude journal, and and consciously looking for things throughout the day to be grateful about. It could be just a little flower you saw on the, that was budding out, that was beautiful, knowing that's God. It's going by the water and just being by the water and see the massness of it. It's beautiful. And you go by the ocean, you don't see the end. It's forever. And so it's just the beautifulness in that. It's always looking for whatever. I mean, I remember the man who came up with the pet rock and
Uh-huh.
made all this money off the pet rock, but he was finding that joy in that rock because those are things that this earth had before we came. That's the foundation of whatever we live on. And so it's just finding the little things. It's the meditations. It's going into meditation and just being quiet and just thanking God for all the things that has happened good in your life, and also blessing everyone. Just finding people in your mind, just go in your mind and just start blessing people, and especially those people who disturb you. And then it's the nature walks, the thank you notes, or just giving thanks for yourself, for your presence being here on this earth.
So
There's so many things to be grateful for.
yeah. So Sherri, what do you suppose? Why do we connect joy with gratitude? What is it about gratitude that moves us to joy? Because we're
Well,
saying the joy of gratitude. So what is that?
well, if you look at gratitude and you're being grateful, it's like you're celebrating whatever that is you're being grateful for. And
Okay.
so if you think about most of us, when we're in celebration, we're having a good time. We're celebrating, we're praising. That's a good feeling. So when you're being grateful and you're in gratitude, these good feelings come up because no matter what it is, it's funny because I tell the story a lot to people because it's one of my greatest lessons or whatever. My sister passed away 6 years ago, and I was doing this gratitude thing, and it's like, how can you find gratitude in this? It's people in your life you hurt, they pass. But what I realized, I was not grateful that she passed. However, I was grateful that I was able to walk this path the 60 years I had with her, or 58 because she's 2 years older than me. I was grateful for that. And so that's what I mean by finding gratefulness in all things. So, not to focus on what is so wrong in your life or what is so painful, but find something that is good in that and focus on that, because when you focus on so good, you're not focusing on the painful stuff. And
Yeah.
that's where the joy comes up. When you keep
Yeah.
your mind off of the stuff that's painful and keep your mind on the stuff that's good.
Yeah, along those lines, I want to share this quote that says, "Gratitude and attitude are not challenges, they are choices."
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I think that's part of what we're saying is that, it really sometimes has to be a conscious choice. Not all of us just flow into it, you know. But at least at some points in our lives, we all have to make it a conscious choice.
Exactly. That's when the practice comes in.
Yeah.
That's when the
Right.
practice comes in.
Right.
You
So
know.
so let me your story sort of points to that, but let me see if there's something else. And that is, what have you found that you found yourself being grateful for that surprised you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, am I really grateful for that?
Well, like again, my sister, that was one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah.
That's what I could think of right now, because it was like I was in a place that I was kind of angry at God and everybody, with all that whole process. However, I realized, I said, stop looking at that. This is a part of life where all of us are going somewhere at some point. And
Right.
start focusing on that joy that you had. Start focusing on the journey you had with her. Why you are where you are right now. I'm part of this philosophy because of my sister.
Right.
And so it's like I had to look at all that and just feel the joy in that. Feel the joy in our relationship and just be thankful that her spirit now lives within me. And I really feel that when I go to these places where I'm feeling challenged, I could just sit still and just be present with her and
Mm.
talk with her. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for a lot of things because I have growth in a lot of things. Sometimes I find myself Sometimes I find myself being frustrated for being in a situation. But then I have to say, wow, yeah, but look, you were in that situation. So now you got to give thanks that you over here now. You know what I mean? It's a matter of letting go of some stuff too, because you want to hold on to stuff sometimes. And it's a matter of letting go. You know,
Yeah.
and it's all about focusing on God. And no
Yeah.
matter what, it's good.
And so what came up for me when we had this title was, can we really have one without the other? Can we have joy without the gratitude, or gratitude without the joy?
I don't think so.
I don't think
I,
so either.
I do not think so, because I really feel there's magic in it. That's what I'm saying. So when I'm feeling a certain way, I say, okay, Sherri, you need to, start looking at things you're grateful for. When you're grateful, you manifest from that place. When you're in a dark place, that's what I really believe in this philosophy is what you focus on, what you get, the energy you put out is what you get back.
Right.
So if you're not in that grateful, joyful, loving place, what you manifest is not going to be that.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just sitting there thinking about the idea that sometimes I find that I look for, I look, allow myself to know that there's something in this situation that I will be grateful for.
You got to start somewhere.
I mean, and I know that that's true, but sometimes I can't see it right now. But I can trust that it's there's something here for me that I'm just not seeing right in this moment. There's some gift here, and that's kind of when I hit the hard spots. That I sort of have to go to that space when I'm not seeing it in the situation, and it's an advantage, I think, if we can have that experience of looking back and seeing where things have blessed, have taught us a lesson or whatever they did for us, and then translate that forward to, okay, I know this is how this works, so I can be grateful even in this moment when it doesn't feel like it.
It's called growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth.
And I think that's such an important point, because I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, but what about if I can't? What about if I don't think that? What if I'm out there and I can't get to that? I don't have that faith that there's something good going to come from this, because it just looks like it's a bunch of crap flying in my face. So it's like, I think, so where do we begin? Like, where does one begin? And I think, well, I'll let you answer it, because
Well,
that's
just
why
like
you're
you
here.
said, Robyn, just like you said before, it's a choice. So there are times, even for myself, where I have wanted to waddle in my pain, waddle in my rightness, waddle, right, wanting to be right where I was. But when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you shift. He's like, I don't want to be in this pain anymore. And you just go within and you pray, you ask God to guide you, but you have to want it. You have to want it. And then sometimes some of us get hit upside the head and get it. But I'm choosing these days to listen to the whisper.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm choosing that those days are gone and goodbye.
Yes.
But I think, and I think they probably are in some ways, because I think that was the stage we learned from, whenever 20 years ago or whatever. But I mean, I think so. What I'm trying to get to is, like, I feel like in order to get to that place of gratitude, like, I mean, it seems that we always start with ourselves, right? So it would have to start with some kind of self love, self esteem, being able to see it right here, right now, in order to even believe that it's beyond here.
Well, if I'm not seeing this as valuable, how can I be grateful for my life? And that's a major place to start in the whole thing, is realizing, wow, I'm here. This is pretty cool for me. That's a great point of gratitude to start with.
Yeah. But I mean, it's self acceptance. Beginning with self acceptance, and on some level, I mean, not to differentiate, but it's like, after you've been in this teaching for a long time or years and years and years down the road, we don't always go back to the beginning of, things that bring people in and all of that. But I mean, I'm just wondering, because I always remember back to like the first classes, like the foundations class and things like that, where, most people sat through the class going, what? How could that be? And how could God be in that? And how could God be in this? And how could God be in the mass shootings? And how could he be in this? And, all of that. And like just coming back to self. And as you in your bio, exactly, I want to touch on this. The I am enough. Your focus, Reverend Sherri's focus is I am enough. That's her motto. So coming from believing that enough to be able to take the next leap of faith.
Interesting you said that, because when you were just speaking about having to be in this place to to understand the gratitude or to feel the gratitude, I was like, well, I don't know about that, but then I realized I have worked on my I am enoughness for 30 years. Because when I thought I had worked on it, some other stuff came up and I said, oh, you're enough over there, but now you got to make sure you're enough over here, because, there's these layers of things that come up. And so, yes, I have worked on that. That was big for me. And the funny thing about it is I realized where it came up in my life when I was little. And so I had to start telling myself I am enough. And I had to talk to myself about that. And so maybe that's why my life is about gratitude now and being able to ease into it, because it's right now is not as challenging for me to live from this place of forgiveness, for love, compassion with people, understanding people do what they do, but they're not necessarily doing it to me. If I felt like, even if it was something that was done, and I was involved. So thank you for saying that, because I have to look at that, because maybe I did do the foundation work on myself to get to this place. And because I wasn't putting that together, now I'm realizing, oh, okay, I did the work. I've been in this philosophy for over 30 years. So I better have gotten something out of here. And I am really, so funny, because the grateful word keeps coming up out my mouth, and I don't like to use it so much because it seems like such a cliche, but I am truly grateful for so many things, and for the love of the people in my life, just friends. I realize I don't have as many. I thought I had a lot of friends. I posted this the other day on Facebook. I thought I had a lot of friends, but I realized, I used to when I was younger, I used to have hundreds of friends, but I realized I don't have as many friends. But the small circle of friends I have is so powerful, because they're so full of love that it's okay. That is okay. And so I'm just grateful for that awareness. And I realized that being in COVID, because, a lot of people are just doing what they do these days. So it's not like, oh, let's go out and hang. That's not happening right now.
Right.
But even in the midst of that, I find joy right here in my home, being with myself.
Yeah.
Being with myself. That's because I'm so grateful for my life.
Yeah. And I know, I hear you. I mean, gratitude, I think it can get overused, the word, but it's almost like the glue to everything, or the roadmap or whatever, but it's like, it's this essential piece of the puzzle that has to keep showing up in order for joy and everything else to happen.
What I realize and know, this is the truth, though, that when you're grateful, things multiply in your life. So when you have an attitude of gratitude, it's like things that you want, things that, and I'm always saying, it's not necessarily you have to go to God and ask God for all these things, because God knows your heart. it's just being grateful for the things you have. And so the things that you want or need will be multiplied in your life. I mean, I really believe that.
Well, I would even argue that it's not so much that they're multiplied, but I can see them more.
Okay, well,
You know what I mean? I mean, like, because I'm grateful, I'm allowing myself to notice this stuff, this, what's in my life, what's good, what's happening, and so there's that sort of that that idea that we get more when we give more, and that's true in a way, but the other way is that it's always there, but we receive more when we give more. You know what I mean? It's just it's a nuance, but it's an interesting one, I think, around this idea of being grateful.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's it, though. You recognize it because it's always there.
Yeah.
It's always there. And so to me, that's the same thing, kind of saying a different way. You recognize it, or it shows up because it's already there.
Right.
And now you recognize it. Yes.
Well, I'm gonna give you one more quote here, and then we're gonna take a commercial break, and then we're gonna come back. And I would like to hear more about your coaching and what you do, and let us know a little bit about that. I know people would like to hear that. So here's the quote, which says, "Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for you. For happiness. It's the spark that lights a fire of joy in your soul." I don't know where the rest of it went. Nope.
That's not it.
I don't know. But anyway, gratitude is a powerful catalyst for happiness. It's the spark that lights a fire of joy in your soul.
I agree.
Wow.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay. We'll be right back right here on New Thought Media Network. And we're back right here on New Thought Media Network with Rockin the Love. I am Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we're here with the Reverend Dr. Sherri Lynn Grier. And we've been talking about the joy of gratitude. And we wanted to take a few minutes and talk to Sherri about some of the stuff that she's doing out there in the world. First of all, I want to congratulate you on being a reverend now. And it's fairly new for you, I know. In fact, you don't know this, but our producer is a new reverend as of the last week. So
congratulations. Yes.
So I know that you have volunteered and you have done a bazillion things in terms of your spiritual communities and where where you've served. So what are you doing now? What's happening that's new and that you're moving into?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I'm in the process of completing my application for a teaching center,
Oh wow.
which is a little different than a teaching chapter.
I was going to say, I noticed that as you said it. So you're doing the
Yeah.
teaching center concept.
Yeah, teaching center. And because she said, "What do you want to do?" And I explained to her, she said, "Oh, you want a center. You're a
And so,
center."
what is that? What is it? What does that mean?
So a center it's like a church without walls. It's the same thing. I get to go out and speak. I can, with a chapter, I was told at the time that I couldn't have Sunday services. Well, with a center you can.
But you don't have to with a
No,
teaching
no,
center.
you don't have to. It's basically for me. What I say, I'm spreading the good news. I'm going out spreading the good news, and I'm basically setting myself up to team up with other churches in the area. Well, not that many churches from where I live in Castro Valley, from Oakland. So there is Livermore, then there's San Jose, and so there's nothing in between. So my idea is to get in that area and really develop it and bring CSL, this philosophy, to people everywhere. And that is part of what that's the main thing of what I'm working on right now. I'm also teaching classes. Of course, I'm speaking at places. I it was something I wanted to say, but it just dropped my mind. But anyway, yes. So I'm doing things like that to just reach out and speak to different people. Oh, and I'm really building I'm not gonna say a program, but being able to reach out to other centers and help them with their youth centers and see help them develop it and grow it. That's part of what my plan is, because I love kids, and every time I think I want to get away from them, I get this joy being around them and just get excited and just it's just so like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be doing. But I realize I just need a break every now and then just to recharge.
Absolutely.
When I recharge, I'm like, oh, it's just so cute. It's just, just so much want to be there to empower them. I've worked with youth girls in San Francisco for like 9 years. And that was the best job. That was the best job, really empowering these young women to know they can have more than what they think they see that they can have.
Yes.
And so, so I'm doing that, and I'm putting together some workshops that I'll be sharing out in the community. So so I got a lot of things that's happening right now, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities.
You gonna be doing any traveling?
Because of COVID,
You're limited travel.
that was one of my things on my mind. All my life. Oh, I'm gonna take this everywhere. I'm gonna travel all over the place, but I'm just gonna let God lead me there.
Okay.
When I move to do that, I'll do that.
All right. Well, when you're moved to do that, you talk to me, and Albuquerque will be waiting to see you. So.
Oh wow! Oh, you mean travel to speak?
Oh,
we can talk about that. I thought you mean taking all my stuff out like in the world is traveling all over the world. But let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Joanne commented about gratitude being the key to life, and I just wanted to mention that, because thank you, Joanne, for doing that, because I think that's what we're talking about here, is that key of being thankful. And that's that's what I see in you and what you're doing, is you're going with what you're grateful for, and then allowing it to expand. And
right. Yes.
And I know you and I share a little bit of the same passion for getting things going, and then for letting others do it. Sometimes.
I'm a person for setting up stuff.
Yeah. And that's great, because you bring that energy and you bring all that, and you support other people in getting it started. And other people are really good at just keeping it moving, and so I think it's great that you're talking about doing things that fit your gifts too, and allow you to be happy in it. Like you said, I can get things going, and then I can take a short break and move on and help someone else.
You know, I realized that. I said, I'm good. I'm a good, what they call that? The person, hype person. I'm a good hype person. I get it going. I rah, you know, and then I just let it go. And I go to my next assignment.
And that's what it is. It's an assignment. That's right.
I go to my next
So do you have clients in your coaching practice?
I do have some. I haven't really focused on that lately, but I do have some. And I'm open to more. I'm open to more. Again, because of COVID, you know, things are a little different. But yeah.
You continue to enjoy doing that though, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. Life is so different now since being sheltered in place and having to get used to being, because I am a people person, have to get used to being on the computer looking at people.
Yeah.
But you know what? Energy goes everywhere.
That's right.
You know, and so you could touch people right through the screen. Right through the screen. So yes, I am open for them. Open for more clients if anyone's interested. And they can just they can email me at reverendSherrilyn@gmail.com.
Oh, we gave them spiritual coach. Does that one work too?
Oh, well, that one works too. That one works too. That's fine. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Of course, it must be.
Yes, it's perfect. Right. And also my Facebook.
All right.
Sherri Lynn. And then I have Sherri Lynn Ministries, which is a page of mine.
Okay.
So you can get contact with me there. Yes.
You can find Sherri everywhere.
Yeah, I got a lot more, but I'll just leave them at those right now.
Okay.
I'm even on TikTok these days. They're so fun.
Joanne says Reverend Sherri is an excellent coach. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. Thank you, Joanne. I do. I love people, and I really, when I speak to people, I'm so grateful for God in my life. I just really can't say that. It's because when I get still and I allow Spirit to speak through me, I know that the words that I speak are what the person needs to hear. And I know it's not me in my head thinking what I think they should do. You know, it's always about what is needed for that situation. And I trust what I'm saying is what they need. And so that's where I live my life from too. It's like sitting back and saying, is this for me to do? Or I tell people who sometimes I may not say, let me pray on it. I say, let me be with that right now, which is saying, let me pray on it.
Right.
And I really try to listen. I do that in driving. You know, I'm going somewhere and I feel something. Which way should I go today? And I kind of wait to feel something, you know, and what feels easiest, that's the way I go. And so I know there's a God there. I know there's a God, you know, and it speaks through me. It speaks through me. It's I really am listening to that in my life.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for being with us. I just wanted to note that you are a practitioner emerita, meaning that you have served 20 plus years as a practitioner. So that being said, as you said earlier, you had a lot of time to work on this. and you've had a lot of opportunities to share that with other people. And I know that that's meant a lot to a lot of people, including Joanne.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great.
And I'd love to be teaching a class in the near future. I hope I'll be teaching foundationals class. That's been a class that people have been skipping over because they've been teaching spiritual practices and principles or but I want to teach foundations. I want to go back to the basics.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think it's good, and I think it's good for anyone who's taken that class, you know, years ago to take it again and see what's new now, you know. And And yeah, that said, it reminds me when I was asking about like how do we get into the space of gratitude and joy. I'm going to leave you with one more quote. This one is my favorite one because, well, you'll know why. Maya Angelou says, "This is a wonderful day. I've never seen this one before."
That's right. That's right.
And that is the answer, to, right? To gratitude and to staying in that wonder and finding that joy, in just the smallest thing
Yep.
that isn't really small at all.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Thank you
guys
so
both
much for
for
being
having
here.
me.
Thank you to all of our listeners and watchers and all those of you who will listen and watch in the future. Thanks so much.
Yeah, make sure and share it with your friends.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say this is my first interview.
Woohoo!
All
Let me
right.
go down on the record so I'll remember.
Okay, you heard it here. This is an exclusive, ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen. This is exclusive breaking news.
yes,
Well,
yes.
we're so happy that we could be your first. You always remember your first, right? So, everybody out there, just remember this week to find the joy and the gratitude and the love and just keep on rocking the love, y'all.
Rock it.
See you next week.